Hi, I'm Margaret Ann Lembo, and I want to welcome you today because today is a day that we're going to do a little drumming journey. And in this drumming journey, very specifically with the intention to meet your power animal. There are so many different types of animals in the world, and that includes insects and, oh, birds and so many different kinds of creatures. And I chose this particular cover photo just because look at how cute these dogs and fox and kittens and bunnies, right? It's such a pretty little picture. So cute. So, animal medicine. So, the thing about animal medicine, I started working with and learning about animal medicine back around 1990, and I started working with the teachings of the medicine wheel that I trained with a couple of different medicine teachers to learn about the medicine of animals and how the animals coming into our life bring messages and symbols. And through that work and play, because it felt like play to me, and I studied. I also eventually became to know Ted Andrews, and I must bring him up immediately in the beginning of this because he is quite the inspiration for this particular book, but also he was my author mentor. So if you haven't heard of Ted Andrews, I also recommend all his titles and specifically Animal Speak. So one morning I woke up with the title Animal Totems in the Gemstone Kingdom in my head. And I really felt like it was Ted telling me to do this combination of matching up power animals with the gemstones. And we're going to talk about that in next week's free event at 6 o'clock next week. But today, it would be really great for all of us to meet our power animals. So now there's many ways that power animals can appear in our lives, and we can have a whole totem of animals, and a whole, yeah, animal totem pole, so to speak. There's more than just one. So I'll share about my experiences and my journey in this just to give you some ideas. So back again in the 90s, early 90s, I was often encountering owls, whether it be unfortunately roadkill or uh, feathers being gifted during sacred ceremonies with Native people, or through visions. And the visions were often from drumming journeys. That's how I got to meet power animals. But it wasn't just owl. I feel like owl is my main, you know, my main one, my main power animal. But we have so many animals that support us in our life. And so as time went on, I found that spider was a significant messenger for me and brings me to bring attention to certain things. So for me, when spider appears in my world, whether it's physically or in a dream or in like a vision, like we're going to go have today, we're going to go within for a vision. Uh, that for me, it means it's time to sit down and get writing. And yes, am very past due on a publishing contract, and I do need to sit and write. And yes, I've had one whole bush outside my bedroom window was covered in spider webs and spiders. And so, did I do anything about it? Not quite yet, a little bit. This past weekend, I started working on the manuscript again. But we do what we can do. We do the best that we can do. But if we become conscious of what the message is, and then the next step is to take action on what the message is. So there are many more, and I won't tell you about all the different stories of all the different animals that I've encountered in my visions. But what I would like to offer you today is an opportunity to get to meet one, two, three, maybe more power animals or medicine animal totems, if you will, animal allies. I'd like to call them allies because they are an ally there to support you in your life and your journey, to bring you messages, to bring you ideas, to inspire you, and to sometimes alert you of something. doesn't have to be very negative, but it could be like, "Ooh, pay attention, look at this," And so, in order to get to know and meet your power animal, the first step is to even have an idea what is your power animal. So, when I ask that question, when I say that question, maybe you already have an idea of what who your power animal is or your main animal totem. Very possible. And pay attention to that. Believe yourself. If you have a power animal that you feel like is your, buddy that's going to help you with your life, believe yourself. Now, what we're going to do tonight is have a little journey into our own consciousness. I'm going to use the beat of a drum, which I will share how that works in just a moment. But first, before we go into this, one of the things I really want to express and ask you to do is to use your imagination. Let yourself make believe. Trust in that because so much of our imagination and our making believe is often we're tapping into our own intuition. And if I could tell you, I would say thousands of times that I've used the power of and the magic of believing and the magic of imagination in my life is what brought me to who I am and what I do today. And so believe yourself with that. And so what we're going to do as I use the drum as a beat to get you kind of in a relaxed I don't really love to use the word trance state, but it's a little bit like you're that calmed down because of the heartbeat type of sound of the drum. What it does is it gets you into a point of deeper connection with your own heart rate, your own heartbeat, and the heartbeat of Mother Earth, if you will. And then when you use your imagination, I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're walking down a pathway potentially in a forest, but if you have a place in mind that's more familiar to you, maybe it's often for me, it's a trail in the desert because that's where I did my vision quest and by Canyon de Chelly. But maybe you want to be at something by a beach near a dunes, sand dunes. There's so many options and so many choices. It's unlimited. If you decide that you want to take a dive into the ocean and have your visions and your connection down under the sea, under the sea, life is much wetter. You could go there if you want. Um, and just use your imagination with that. So now I'm going to ask you to imagine that you're walking down a pathway behind the center of your forehead. This is with your eyes closed. I'll start the beat of the drum, and I will start out by saying, guiding you, but then my voice is going to go quiet, and it's just going to be the beat of the drum. In the process of you walking down the pathway and going into the journey, what I'm going to recommend to ask you to do is let your imagination fly and see if you see, quote unquote, or feel like you know that you have a certain animal nearby you. And you may find that you have quite a few. It could be an insect, it could be a reptile, it could be even a mythical creature. That's unlimited, right? So, but I also want to recommend that you see, that you notice which creature is most evident. What creature shows up the most? Maybe one stays with you the whole entire time from the moment that we start and then till I have you come back. That's that. Pay attention to which one is the one that stays with you the most or is showing up more often. And that will help, but take note of all of it, and then as soon as we're done, what I recommend, get a piece of paper and a pen near you now, or if you prefer to put it into your phone, get ready at the end. And by the way, silence your cell phone so you can really stay focused. That you write down anything that you can remember from it, even plants and trees. If there's something specific that stands out, take note of it. And then what I'd like to also recommend is look it up in a book as to what that power animal is about. Oh, look, there's a book right there on that screen. You could look it up in my book, but you could also look it up in like Ted Andrews' book as well. Animal Speak. Good book. So now, uh, this is just to give you an idea of, certain animals. By the way, one of my power animals is definitely a dove because I have a dove. Well, no, he's in heaven. But I had more than one dove, and my dove, Michael, was married to Ariel, and they had many babies. So I had a lot of doves in my life at one point in my life. And then like I already mentioned, owl and spider, but also I have a parrot that's part of my life, and so many cats. Oh my goodness, so many cats. And flamingo is very strong in my life too. I get a lot of flamingo gifts. So pay attention to all of that. Even if somebody just gives you a mug with a flamingo on it, notice it, pay attention, look up the meaning. What does that mean? How does this relate to my life? So keep that all in mind, that there's plenty of ideas for you to work with. And what we're going to do, and here's an image. I'm going to leave this image on the screen for the drumming part of this particular journey. And I'm going to take my face off of the screen and start explaining to you a little bit more about the drum beat and how I'm going to bring you back from this. But I need to push my computer far away from me so we can make this work without disrupting the sound. We tried to set the settings so that Zoom settings are better. You want to pull it for me? Thank you. Very good. So hopefully you can still hear me. I think I'll speak up. You can still hear me? Okay. Well, you're in the room. You can hear me. No, I can hear you. Good. You're funny. I am funny. Thank you. You are too. That's Kate. Kate is my wonderful assistant who pulled that away from me. So we just moved my my laptop farther away from me so we don't lose the sound of the drum this week. Fingers crossed. It's fingers crossed. So now when we're going to go into the journey, I want you to hear this is what this is the drum beat that it's going to be for the whole time until it's time to come back. Okay, so that's the basic drum beat. I don't have to explain that much more. But then when it's time to come back, I will start a different sound of a different rhythm. And that rhythm doesn't mean come back right this second, but it's time to like wrap it up. Like if you're deep in the forest or deep under the sea with, Nemo, decide that it's, recognize it's like, okay. And because you might, who knows, you might be talking to an animal might be talking to you. So when you hear this beat, that means that we're going to start the journey back. And then I'll go back to this beat for a little bit so you can finish with whatever it is that you were doing. And then you'll hear this beat again, kind of like the snooze button. And then one more round of just regular beat, the normal heartbeat, so to speak. And one final time where I'll bring you all the way back with this sound. Okay, I think that explains it. Did we keep the sound of the drum? Pretty well. Pretty well? Yeah. Excellent. Do I need to go lighter?
Maybe on the coming back part. That's the only part.
That's the only part?
The
regular one is
fine.
Okay, good. All right, everybody. So uncross your legs, put your feet on the ground. Imagine that you have white light roots growing from the soles of your feet. Imagine that you also have a beautiful white light that just envelops you, surrounds you. It's in front of you, it's behind you, it's above you, it's below you, it's swirling all the way around you. Start to be aware of your breath, the inhalation and the exhalation. Observe that when you breathe in, your belly expands. And when you exhale, observe how your belly contracts. And as you observe your breath throughout this process, if you ever get distracted at all during this process, bring your attention. First is notice you got distracted, and then bring your awareness back to your breath. The inhale and the exhale, and notice how your body expands on the inhalation and how your body contracts on the exhalation. Good. Now, put all of your awareness and attention behind the center of your forehead. And as you put your attention behind the center of your forehead, using your imagination, imagine that you're walking. You're walking. You're walking down a pathway. Let yourself use your imagination and make your pathway whatever is going to make you feel comfortable. Perhaps it's a lush green forest or a pathway in a mountain or next to a stream by the beach. Find your place as you walk the pathway. Now, my voice will be quiet for a period of time. Continue to walk the pathway and observe which animals show up to come support you. if you want, you can write down, jot down something, anything that comes to mind, even if it's odd. Maybe it's not even an animal. Write it down, take note. Be aware of your breath, the inhale and the exhale. Let yourself come fully back. Be grounded. Notice your feet. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Maybe you want to rotate your ankles and your wrists. Bring yourself all the way back. If you haven't already, go ahead and write down a few ideas. I had some odd things show up, so I'm going to grab a pen, quickly write a few things down. I want you to do the same. And then next week we'll be working with and playing with the animal totems and gemstone kingdom book and deck, which is the animal allies. And we'll get into what the meanings of some of the animals are and why you may have seen certain animals. So if you wanted to, you can, if you want to, you can email me, Margaret at margaretannlembo.com, and let me know what animals you saw, and I'll try to incorporate it into my PowerPoint presentation on my next free event next Tuesday at 6 Eastern Time here, as we investigate why a certain animal might show up in your life. And I want to thank you so much for attending. This has been enjoyable for me, and I love this work, as you probably picked up on. And what we're going to do now is shift over to our Shop the Crystal Garden from Home event, which is so much fun. Uh, I highly encourage that you, I see there's a chat note messages here. Um, Look at this, white pit bull. Um, I forgot what I was saying because I'm writing down notes. What was I saying? Anybody know? Oh, the shop from home event is just so much fun. So even if you don't feel like shopping, like we're going, the feature today is what we're going to do is where I'm gonna just do this. Watch me do this. Can we do it? See that table over there? That's filled with animals. I think I might be able to. It's filled with animals and gemstones of all types. And I'm making notes of some of what you guys have written down here in the messages. So come on over. Come on over. So where you go is the Crystal Garden page, and we'll entertain. Kate will make fun of me. Will you, Kate? Always. Oh, good. That's great. I'm writing down all these the mess that what animals people saw so I can try to incorporate it. Wow, there's a lot of animals that showed up. God bless you all. You did great. Look at this. Crab, whale. Oh, why not? Ah, okay. Okay, so what you do is I'm gonna do this. It's HTTPS, do boop boop. I'm gonna make noise while I talk to myself here, facebook.com/ the Crystal Garden page, right? No page? Okay. Wow, a jellyfish and a whale. I wrote whale, somebody else saw whale. I got seashells too, pelican. Cool. Giraffe. Yeah, I got clam shells. Pelican. Wow, that would be a really long this if I did all of these, it would be like a 3-hour event. But I'll do some of them.
Yeah, you can kind of lump them together.
I can lump them together. Okay.
Some of them.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and complete our little time together here. I want to thank you so much for attending, and I appreciate it very much. It's always a blessing. So thank you, and hopefully we'll see you in a few moments for our Shop the Crystal Garden from Home event. Have a great evening. Much love and many blessings.